But we begin with a massive winter storm pummeling the country. Nearly 200 million people are caught in the middle of it. Brutal cold, ice, and snow. 23 states from the south to the northeast are under a state of emergency. At least 3 deaths are blamed on the cold. More than 1 million people are in the dark tonight, and the snow still falling. We have CBS News correspondents covering it all. CBS's Chanel Call is in New York City and leads us off tonight. Chanel.
And Jerika, here in Manhattan, we're seeing nearly a foot of snow on the ground right now. Plows have been out in full force since early this morning, trying to get these streets cleaned up before people go back to work tomorrow. Instead of picking up trash, an army of 700 New York City garbage trucks are moving snow and salting streets. Travel becoming treacherous across much of the Northeast.
Do not get on the roads. I did a full 360 in an all-wheel drive vehicle.
Drivers seen abandoning their vehicles on Interstate 75 in Ohio in snow too deep to drive through. In Pittsburgh, conditions there causing drivers to slide off the roads. The governors of New Jersey, Connecticut, and New York all declaring states of emergency.
An Arctic siege has taken over our state and many other states across the nation.
This storm, the first big test for New York City Mayor Zohran Mamdani, who announced today he's shutting down public schools Monday, but classes will move online.
This may disappoint some students, so if you do see me, feel free to throw a snowball at me.
Boston bracing for 20 inches of snow. Here's CBS's Tom Hansen.
The frigid cold and heavy snow have shut down Boston. Schools are closed tomorrow, but some homeless shelters are open 24/7 due to the storm. And take a look behind me. Workers are working around the clock to keep critical services like hospitals open.
The stormy weather causing over 11,000 flight cancellations and 3,600 delays today.
We are officially closing LaGuardia Airport until 6 a.m. tomorrow.
New York's LaGuardia, Dulles International, and Reagan National, the hardest hit.
We have to spend 2 nights here because we don't fly out till Monday.
And we're also dealing with dangerously cold temperatures here in the Northeast. This could be the coldest winter weather New Yorkers have experienced in the last 8 years. Jerika?
Chanel Call for us in New York. Thank you. The South was the first to get hit by the dangerous storm, and that is where we find CBS's Jason Allen in hard-hit Oklahoma City. Jason.
Jerika, this storm blanketed Oklahoma in snow. Nearly 9 inches fell here, and that set snowfall records 2 days in a row.
A deadly deep freeze has the South in its grip. Thick layers of ice are paralyzing communities from Alabama to Washington, D.C. and Atlanta. Traffic was temporarily stopped in St. Louis this weekend when a semi-truck split in half, spilling yogurt across the roadway.
Oh, look at all that yogurt!
This is just not a normal weather event for Oklahoma City.
Temperatures plummeted below 10 degrees in Oklahoma today, where the extreme cold is swelling shelters beyond capacity.
Like every space is filled up.
The priority is keeping people safe and warm.
Utility companies in Tennessee are expecting customers to be without power for days after freezing rain formed a layer of ice roughly an inch thick, straining power lines past their breaking points. More than 1 million people are now without electricity across the country tonight. Dave Malkoff is in Charlotte, North Carolina, where crews are working hard to keep the heat on.
See that 7,200 volt line in the woods back there? Well, a car hit a pole that took out power for 100 customers in this neighborhood. But the majority of the power outages we're seeing are over in the western part of the state, where the same high mountain terrain that locked in Hurricane Helene's winds has done it again in this storm, taking out power for thousands of families who are still in recovery mode.
In the nation's capital, temperatures could dip into the single digits by Monday. Sledders are taking advantage of the snowfall, turning Capitol Hill into a ski slope.
It was great powder this morning. It's getting a little sleety now, but we're having a great time.
So the snow and ice has stopped falling here, but there is still an extreme cold warning that is in effect. Temperatures are not expected to get back above freezing for another 2 days. Jerika?
All right, Jason Allen, thank you.
The death toll rising in the aftermath of that massive winter storm over the weekend. And there are also new concerns tonight about dangerous temperatures that have more than 180 million Americans under alert. Much of the country, meanwhile, digging out after record-setting snow, nearly 2 feet, burying parts of the north. And to the south, destructive ice is the problem. Hundreds of thousands are still without power. And nationwide, airlines are working to get back on schedule after thousands of delays and cancellations as another storm beckons. We'll have a full forecast in just a moment, plus more on the travel situation. But we begin with Tom Hansen in hard-hit Boston. Tom, good evening to you.
Hey there, Tony. Good evening to you. Well, the snow is still coming down, but the worst is reportedly over for now. So far, we've received about 19 inches, but with temperatures hovering around 18 degrees and a wind chill that makes it feel like it's about 6 degrees, this snow is not going anywhere, meaning all of those massive piles we've been seeing around the city are here to stay.
The work week opened up with a winter wallop. Driving snow followed by a blast of below freezing temperatures is responsible for at least 19 deaths across the country. More snow is in the forecast for parts of New England tonight, where some communities have already seen nearly 2 feet. At Boston Common, we found the snow piled shoulder high and the people working to clear a path through it.
It keeps me warm. I don't need a coat on because it's tough work trying to shovel all the snow.
The work is keeping you warm.
The work is keeping me warm, yeah.
New York City ferries are navigating past large ice floes covering the Hudson River, while further north, Coast Guard boats were called in to free a barge frozen in place near Barrytown.
And this storm brought one of Boston's top 10 biggest snow days ever. Cold weather advisories and extreme cold warnings are also in effect tonight from North Dakota to Florida. And Nicole Valdez is in Nashville, Tennessee.
Here in Tennessee, 250,000 people are still enduring frigid temperatures without power, more than any other state. In Nashville and throughout the South, power lines and tree limbs are caked in heavy ice. The University of Mississippi has canceled classes for the week because of damage from the ice storm. We've met several people who've been trapped in their homes for days, unable to navigate the icy roads. How cold is it in your house right now?
It's 45 degrees.
What are you guys doing to try to stay warm and safe at this point?
Lots of blankets. We have a ceramic pot and a candle underneath it to try to slightly stay warm. That's pretty much all we have, so.
About 6 inches of snow fell in parts of Tennessee, but it's the extreme cold that's causing real problems. Nashville's mayor is calling for patience as crews work to get the power back on.
We are seeing trees continue to fall. Even as crews are getting power restored, limbs and trees are falling on lines again in places, knocking power back out after it's been restored.
Tonight, we'll have a wind chill of -11 degrees. This Arctic cold is also causing problems at many airports. Chris Van Cleve is at Reagan National.
Still plenty of cancellations and most flights are delayed, but planes are moving again. This storm has canceled more than 21,000 flights since Friday, and now investigators are trying to determine if the weather factored into a deadly crash in Maine.
We have a passenger aircraft upside down.
Haunting radio transmissions during the height of the storm Sunday night. A business jet linked to a Houston law firm crashed during takeoff from Bangor, Maine. Local police say all 6 on board died. The plane came to rest upside down and could be seen smoking after the crash.
The NTSB has notified us that they expect to have a team of investigators on site later this afternoon, early evening.
Airports from Dallas to Boston have been working around the clock, clearing out snow and ice to try to get people and planes moving again. At Washington's Reagan National Sunday, every flight was canceled. Solia Meckling has been in the terminal since Saturday.
We were just hoping to see if we could rebook as fast as possible because we were calling airlines and no one was picking up.
But now you're stuck here.
Now we're stuck here for 2 days, so.
Sad to report she's still stuck in the terminal, hoping to get on a long-delayed flight late tonight. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy says the FAA doesn't expect things to get back to more or less normal until maybe Wednesday. Tony?
It's a long time. Chris, thank you very much. The number of fatalities blamed on that monster winter storm that hit much of the country over the weekend is still rising. It's up to at least 34 people in 15 states, including 3 brothers who died after falling through an icy pond in North Texas. And thousands of people will be spending another night in the cold and the dark. Here's Nicole Valdez.
Tony, good evening. Right now, it's about 30 degrees here in Nashville, but for hundreds of thousands of people throughout the South, inside, it is not much warmer. People are desperately trying to stay warm, and they're running low on critical resources like food. Trees caked in snow and ice are still snapping and cracking across the South tonight, while bitter cold has burdened communities from Texas to Michigan. In Tennessee, state troopers are going door to door to check on people living with no power, as crews work around the clock to get the lights and heat back on. Local chefs like Daniel Yarzagay are cooking up hundreds of hot meals for those who've gone days without.
It was both heartbreaking and very rewarding because some of these people were literally crying as you handed them hot food because they haven't eaten in 2 days.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Today, another 400 meals hand-delivered to parts of the city hit hardest. Roughly 500,000 customers are still without power across the country as utility companies work to clear equipment encased in ice. Katie Weiss is in Oxford, Mississippi with more on the aftermath.
Down power lines are proving destructive in Mississippi. This one came dangerously close to a church. And the frigid temperatures are adding to the misery and hampering the recovery effort here. Crews have made progress, restoring power to tens of thousands since Sunday, but there are still over 100,000 customers waiting for the light and heat to return. And the governor here has secured 30 generators from FEMA to send to critical businesses like long-term care facilities. Here in Oxford, there's still a shelter-in-place order in effect, and the National Guard is expected to arrive tomorrow.
Doctors from Vanderbilt University in Nashville are warning against using alternative heat sources like a gas stove inside. They've treated more than 46 children for carbon monoxide poisoning since Sunday. Now, Nashville's electric service deployed more than 700 linemen today alone to try and restore more power, but in some cases, they're just getting knocked back down because of these ice-covered trees. The company says for those who are still in the dark, well, they could be days away from relief. Tony?
Nicole, thank you very much. And it's great to be with you. There is good news on the economy tonight as the Federal Reserve says the data continues to surprise them. We'll have more on that in a moment. But first, hundreds of thousands in the South are still without power, and that's where we begin. Crews are racing at this hour to repair the damage after that massive weekend storm, now blamed for at least 41 deaths, and another storm is coming this weekend. Rob Marciano with the forecast in just a moment, but for now, the deep freeze continues, and we have our team out there on it, beginning with Katie Weiss in Oxford, Mississippi. Katie, good evening.
Good evening, Tony. It's like an icy tornado ripped through this city. Thousands of people here in Oxford are now on day 4 with no power and no running water. And with more freezing temperatures expected this weekend, the city's mayor says it's only going to get worse. Workers from the Tennessee Valley Authority are using helicopters and drones to help restore power to areas cut off by snow and ice. FEMA and the National Guard are on the ground in Mississippi helping with the recovery, a sign of relief for middle school teacher Jerica Pryor, who has been living without power for 4 days now. What have you been dealing with over the last few days?
No water, no heat, lights, freezing temperatures.
Pryor told us during the day, she sits inside her car to keep warm. And at night, she sparingly uses a space heater. She told us she ran out of food a few days ago and is living off snack food.
Poor diet, but that's what I've had to do.
We're giving it all we've got every day to try to get everybody's services restored. It literally looks like a tornado has gone down every street in our community, and it's been devastating.
Tom Hansen is in New York City with more on the problems all this ice is creating there.
Well, take a look behind me. Chunks of the Hudson River appear to pretty much be frozen over. And believe it or not, the temperature in that frigid water is actually warmer than the air temperature is outside. In the Northeast, the effects of the storm are still apparent. Some D.C. area schools will remain closed tomorrow, and icy roads caused this semi to overturn in Indianapolis. But in the coldest months of the year, activity aboard Coast Guard icebreakers heats up.
So that's where we're headed.
Yep, that's where we're headed today.
We rode along on the 65-foot Hauser, breaking apart massive ice sheets covering one of America's busiest waterways. The dense ice flow halting travel for thousands of commuters who rely on the city's ferries.
It's really moving. What kind of danger does that present for the boats that have to go through this area?
It definitely creates a great danger for the boats with getting stuck in the ice or getting set into an area that you really don't feel comfortable being in.
And Tony, we witnessed 3 boats being freed up by the U.S. Coast Guard. You know, these big chunks of ice come from further up north where there's another fleet of icebreakers who are clearing the path for essential heating oil to be delivered. Tony?
All right, Tom, thank you very much. And it's great to be with you tonight. We begin with another day of frigid temperatures for much of the U.S., worsening conditions in places that are already struggling to deal with the last winter storm, a storm now linked to the deaths of at least 65 people and leaving 200,000 others in the dark and the cold tonight. Crews still working to restore power in some states, among them Mississippi and Tennessee, where hundreds of National Guard troops have now been mobilized to help. Rob Marciano is following all of it from New York, where the city is dealing with massive piles of snow, which it is now trying to melt, apparently. Rob, good evening.
Good evening, Tony. Oh, yeah, they're melting it. They're using these giant hot tubs, and they've already melted 25 million pounds of it here in New York City. I mean, with these temperatures, Mother Nature's not helped melting it. And in these dense cities, you can plow all you want, but at some point, there's no way to put it.
It's a battle around towering mounds of snow. In Boston, simply crossing the street is no longer simple.
Oh, we backtrack. If there is not enough room, we backtrack and we find another route.
A week of sub-freezing temperatures across the east have left snow clinging to sidewalks and roads, leaving cars spinning and sliding. From road crews to residents, just about everyone is cleaning, clearing, and coping with the snow. But in New York City, still buried under a crippling maze of hard-packed snow, the sanitation department is using 10 snow jacuzzis to melt it for the first time in nearly 5 years.
2 weeks straight of sub-freezing temperatures, that means that snow is not going anywhere.
They can melt up to 240,000 pounds of snow an hour.
You've got the fire hydrant here. We've got water going in there that heats up. That's the sauna.
Exactly. Every time one of these front-end loaders comes over, it's about 1,000 pounds of snow that it's dumping in, mixes with just regular room temperature tap water, and melts it at 38 degrees, puts it down into an approved sewer line where it can go through the water treatment system.
Parts of the South still in full recovery mode. Crews there racing to restore power in Oxford, Mississippi, while FEMA delivered generators throughout the state. Our own Katie Weiss is in Ripley.
It's been tough. I mean, no water has been tough. But we've helped people. We've been working on roads. We've been opening roads and just trying to do what we can do.
All that clearing in time for potentially more snow this weekend.
This next storm is definitely different, but it's bringing even more cold, so they're going to have these melters going 24/7, likely for the next week. All right, let's talk about that next system and the cold, which is going to be widespread. We've got all these cold weather alerts and cold weather warnings all the way down to Florida, 20, 30, in some cases 40 degrees below average. Miami, you'll see the coldest air you've seen since 2010 come Sunday. But the winter storm warnings are already up for eastern Tennessee and parts of Virginia and the Carolinas. That will be expanded during the day tomorrow. Wind gusts up to 50, 65 miles per hour. Strong upper level energy is going to kind of trigger a coastal low. Good old-fashioned nor'easter, and that radar will fill in during the day tomorrow. Blizzard conditions potentially along the Outer Banks, and then missing New York and much of the big cities, including Boston. But it looks like eastern Mass will get clipped with this as well. As far as how much snow we expect to see, 6 to 12 inches in spots across North Carolina and Virginia. That's certainly possible. Maybe more in some spots, and 2 to 6 potentially across parts of eastern Massachusetts. But regardless of how much snow you get, the cold is going to be with us. It will be brutally cold, relatively speaking, right through the weekend, and in some cases right through next week. Spring, Tony, certainly feels a long way off.
It sure does, Rob. Thank you very much.